It is so fun to get to do this virtual view event since we are not quite to the point of doing it live and in person yet, although that time will, I think, be coming soon.
Yes, welcome everybody. We're so excited to have you here this morning. We typically do view events, of course, at all three campuses during the year. We missed out on a few since quarantine, but this will be the next best thing. So we're going to talk about our entire district today, even though we're filming from our South Campus, coming to you live from our South Campus in Oklahoma City. We're going to give just a couple more minutes for some people to log on, and then we'll get started. So while we're waiting for a few more minutes, Stephen, do you want to, well, let me introduce myself. I'm sorry, I'm Darla Benoit. I'm the admissions director for the Academy. And it's been a busy season. We're still bringing people in, new applicants coming in every day. We're so excited. It's been great. So I'm excited to meet some of you in person, hopefully this summer, and it'll be me that you're calling and emailing, along with my admissions coordinator at the South Campus, Lindy Beswick. So we team up together to help new students join our school. So Mr. Taylor, do you want to give a update about what you've been up to this, well, I want to say summer, but summer just started. So ever since spring break.
Well, my name is Stephen Taylor, and I'm the assistant headmaster here at the Academy of Classical Christian Studies. And we are so thrilled to have this opportunity for this virtual view event. We have just wrapped up 8 weeks of the most grace-filled, beautiful time of online learning, where we had 620 students in synchronous learning across our school district. It was simply stunning the way our teachers figured out how to continue pouring into their students every day. And we have received daily emails from parents with their just with their Thanksgiving and with their appreciation for their teachers and the impact that their teachers have continued to have in their children's lives in what's kind of a weird time in our lives. So now that we've wrapped up that chapter, we are full steam ahead planning for the fall, and we will certainly share more about what those plans for the fall will look like a little bit later on in the webinar.
Thanks. So if you guys haven't been on a webinar lately, I just want to kind of give you a little bit of housekeeping items. We cannot see you, so don't worry about if you're at home on your couch in your PJs with the rollers in your hair, you are good to go. But we can see who's tuning in, and we would love to interact with you as we would interact with you on a regular view event. So please feel free to use the chat button on the bottom of your screen to ask us questions. We'll try to get to as many of those as we can. Feel free to introduce yourselves and tell us where you're from. That would be great. If you haven't, I'm assuming that you found out about this view event through our Facebook page, or maybe from a text from a friend. But I'd like to let you know that we do have an Academy of Classical Christian Studies Facebook page. And from that page, you can gather all kinds of cool videos and information about our school. It's updated regularly by Amy Allen. We also have an Academy podcast. If you guys have not heard about this yet, we are that kind of cool Christian school. So the Academy podcast can be found on any podcast app that you have. So I use Overcast, but I know it's available on iTunes and wherever you normally listen to podcasts. We just finished up a series called The Bunker Tapes, where our headmaster and one of our professors and our IT guru broadcasted from their bunkers, but managed to beautifully tell the story of the Academy in a whole new way. So I really encourage you guys to check that out. You can also find our school on YouTube. at the Academy of Classical Christian Studies on YouTube. And from there, you can see things that we've posted over this time in quarantine. We continued with our daily prayer called Matins every morning. You can check out what Matins is like by clicking on those videos. And if you haven't guessed already, we have the star of 2 of our viral videos with us today, Mr. Taylor, who is not only King George, but Prince Ali. So you are in the company of a celebrity, ladies and gentlemen. So you can find those as well on our YouTube channel.
Whatever it takes to bring smiles to people's faces and to let our students know that we are thinking of them and that we love them and that we care for them and that we miss them. We can't wait to see them again in the fall.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let me go over real quick about what our typical VIEW event looks like at one of our schools. We have VIEW events at our North Campus, our South Campus, and our Midtown Campus throughout the year. And it kind of goes basically this in the same format that we're going to have here today. So we meet all of you. We talk to you about your backgrounds and what brought you to the Academy. That's why I'd like to see some chat during our time here so we can kind of get to know you as well. And then we talk about the background of the school and what classical Christian education is. And then we take the guests at a VIEW event around to different stops on a tour through our school, and we walk through the mission of the Academy. So each stop along the way talks about a piece of our mission statement. And our mission statement is that we assist parents in shaping students' affections for truth, goodness, and beauty for the benefit of man and the glory of Jesus Christ. And so today you're going to go along the stops with us, but in a different way. We pre-recorded our stops on Tuesday, so we're going to bring those in during our talk today. So you will get to hear from a student from our North Campus, and he's going into 8th grade. You'll get to hear from parents of the Academy here at our South Campus, and also one of our South Campus teachers who teaches 4th grade. So we will go through those with you. A brief background of our school is well, let me introduce myself first because we had a few more people join in. So I am Darla Benoit. I'm the admissions director for the Academy District. We are a district. We have 3 schools, 3 campuses, sorry. South Campus, which is pre-K through 8th. North Campus on Hefner Road, which is pre-K through 8th. And then a high school rhetoric campus. We'll talk about those terms here in a minute. 9th through 12th in Midtown Oklahoma City, which is a really cool location to have a high school. We started out a few years ago, prior to 2013, as 2 different classical Christian schools. So we had Veritas Classical in Norman, which you might have heard about, which was a classical blended model only school. So that was coming to school a couple days a week and the homeschool portion 3 days a week. We had Providence Hall in Oklahoma City, which was a 5-day classical school. At the time, I think combined, we had about 200 students between Providence Hall and Veritas. And since that time, we've grown to 645 students. So it's been a great merger with bumps along the way, but it turned out wonderfully. We became the Academy, and now we're the Oklahoma City Metro's only classical Christian school, fully classical, fully Christian. We are a part of the Association of Classical Christian Schools. We are also accredited through Advanced Ed, so we are an accredited program. We have a high school profile that we give to colleges and universities that explains who we are and what our classes mean and the credit hours, what colleges and universities our graduates have matriculated to, as well as our ACT scores. If you would like a copy of that high school profile, please email admissions@theacademyok.org, and I will be happy to mail you one of those. As I mentioned, we have 2 models that merge together, but now the Academy offers 2 models to families. So when you enroll here at the Academy, you have a choice to do the blended model, which is a combined classroom experience with the homeschool experience. It's a great way to either transition in from homeschooling or to, dive into the world of homeschooling and see what that's like, but also get the benefits from your child participating in a classroom. So at the grammar level, your student will go to school 2 days a week and homeschool 3 days a week, but it's a 5-day program, meaning that while you're at home, you are doing the same work that our traditional kids up at the campus are doing. So the teachers partner with you in every sense of the word. They provide lesson plans. We provide the curriculum. We provide the training of how to do that curriculum at home. It's a wonderful option. Our other model is called our traditional model, and that's a 5-day program at any of our campuses. Our high school campuses is 5-day only, but north or south, you can do the 5-day model where your kids come here in a traditional educational format. So without further ado, it is already 10:15. The time is flying. Mr. Taylor, do you want to add anything else before we jump into this first video? I can kind of introduce the...
No, let's jump into this first video, and I can't wait to share a little bit about what our school is like and who we are.
Okay, great.
The Festive School is a school that takes so very seriously the riches of the Christian calendar and of feasting together and of congregating together, praying together. Joy is most often experienced in teaching a child when they delight in something. And therefore, joy must inform all of our educational endeavors.
We're not just here to educate your children and pump them full of information and send them out to the world. We want to shape their affections for truth, goodness, and beauty. One of the ways that we're shaping students' affections is through that Festive School.
So we gotta grab all that and then apply it. So we apply it to fine arts, we apply it to our house system, we apply it to educational initiatives, we apply it to how we do fundraising. There's deep contentment in financially supporting children who are delighting in a culture of unhurried wonder.
Our mission at the Academy is to assist parents in shaping students' affections for truth, goodness, and beauty for the benefit of man and the glory of Jesus Christ.
This entire school is raising up our children as sort of full beings in Christ. The teachers embody that, the administrators embody that. I think it's a wonderful institution. And in fact, I don't know of any other school that's quite like the Academy.
We as a school very much want to embody these ideals and not really talk about them. What we study becomes, over time, a life well lived. What we at the Academy call a culture of unhurried wonder. The Festive School invites a child to be so wholly habituated, so profoundly engaged with all of the greatest authors and all of the greatest prophets. He or she becomes like those great men and women.
Part of this Festive School is even through the lens of the Trivium. We're looking at our grammar students and we're just giving them songs where they're memorizing things and we're catechizing them and they're just soaking in like little tiny sponges all of this great information. And then we go into our dialectic phase, which is our middle school phase, and we want them to be able to articulate why they know something and how they know something. And then you get to rhetoric school, which is just the culmination of everything they've learned. And the end of their time in their education at the Academy is so rich and full. By the time that our students have worked their way up through grammar and dialectic and rhetoric, those foundations for truth and goodness and beauty are really instilled in their heart.
So when they finish their years at the Academy, they're sort of equipped on how to think well, love well, articulate well, and be really lights to the world.
That gives you just a quick preview of what it means to have a festive school where students love what they're doing, where they are excited to come to school. My daughter, she's in just finished kindergarten, going into first grade. She misses school already. It's been a week, and she is waiting to go into first grade. She is so excited. So there is such great joy in shepherding and stewarding a school that's so committed to partnership with parents, where we are working with you, partnering with you day in and day out, where we want children to become lifelong learners who have great enthusiasm and joy and passion, not only for the things that they're learning, although that matters, but most importantly for Christ. We want to be raising up disciples for Christ. And if you've ever read Dr. Seuss's Oh, the Places You'll Go, on the very last page of that book, there's this picture of children standing on each other's shoulders and kind of stretching up, way up to the moon. And that's always the visual image that I have in my mind when I think about what we're doing, raising up the next generation, having them stand on our shoulders so that we can provide them an even better education than we ourselves received. And someday they too will be raising up the next generation, each generation standing on the shoulders of those who have gone before them. And it's such a joy to be a part of that endeavor. Our school is classical and Christian, and so there's a lot of kind of fancy words that come along with the world of classical Christian education. So one of the things we talk about is the grammar school, the dialectic school, and the rhetoric school. And so the grammar years, really pre-K to fifth grade, these are the years when we are building a foundation of knowledge, when we are giving them the building blocks of each of these subject areas, the pieces of information. They are so full of energy and imagination and curiosity, whether it's exploring the dirt outside, looking for bugs and insects, and oh my goodness, look at this ladybug, it's amazing, to understanding math problems for the first time and putting all of these building blocks together, learning their phonemes, learning their phonograms, and having that ultimately culminate into fluency and literacy. All of these building blocks are part of the grammar years, pre-K through 5. And that leads to the dialectic years, where students, stereotypically, the 6th, 7th, 8th grade years are usually not the years that people remember most fondly from their own school experience. We want to flip that on its head. We want, and we believe that we are, in fact, creating a rich environment where our dialectic students are part of such a joyful community where they are ready to come to school and they're ready to learn. And they're taking all of those building blocks from those grammar years and they're putting them together and pursuing deeper and deeper understanding. And ultimately, they're learning not simply what, they're learning why. They're learning how to logically put ideas together and to create new ideas from those building blocks. So that culminates in high school, what we call the rhetoric stage, where students are pursuing not just information, they're pursuing wisdom. And so we have this beautiful picture of progressing from knowledge to understanding to wisdom. And that's what is at the heart of classical education. And what makes it Christian is that we recognize that ultimately all of this is governed by the opportunity to share the gospel with our students. Every class, every subject is taught through a biblical worldview where we are helping students understand God's creation and God's scripture and how that is articulated through all the different subject areas. So whether it's reading Socrates and understanding what Socrates has to do with the theological truths that we know from scripture, or whether it's learning math and how our God created this beautiful universe with mathematical principles, it's all steeped in biblical worldview and understanding. But at the end of the day, as we look at all of these different pieces of our school, I don't want you to simply take my word for it. I want you to hear from some of our parents. So I'd like to invite you to see this short clip from Rebecca and Jeremy Burt, who are parents at our South Campus, and they have a little bit to share about their experience here at the Academy.
Hello, I'm Jeremy, and this is Rebecca. We're the Burts.
We have 3 kids here at the Academy. We have a 3rd grader who's a traditional student. We have a 1st grader who's a traditional student, and then we have a pre-Ker who is a blended student. So we just completed our 4th year at the Academy. We've done the blended and the traditional both, and we both are working parents, and so we have experience kind of doing both as working family, and how that looks is a little bit different sometimes than being home all the time with the kiddos. But it's worked out great for our family, so we've enjoyed both models. We hope to have all 3 in traditional soon, once that little guy gets a little bit bigger.
One thing I've liked a lot about the phasing from the blended to the traditional has been the support of the staff, the teachers, the other families. It's like it was seamless. I kind of felt like we might be on an island a little bit, but it was really, it was very nice to see how involved and engaged it was still, even being traditional. We felt very much part of the community. It was just easy as far as that connectivity.
I'd say the teachers really do a good job, and the administrators walking hand in hand with you. So when we first started here, we did blended at first because the students were young, and that was an easy thing to do, still working, and we could do it kind of before and after work. But they did a great job. The curriculum gets sent home with the kids every day, and we were able to do it a little bit in the morning, a little bit in the evening, and it worked out great for our family. Having a small class size is really nice too, because the teachers just work right along with you. They communicate with you throughout your home days, and really throughout the school days. We would get texts, kind of updates from the teachers, which was really nice. I felt like we had a really good personal connection with the teachers. And they, everybody wants your kid to succeed. And so it was really nice to see the families want to have that happen, and the kids are helping each other, and the teachers are helping the parents, and everyone is kind of working together to make that, to make the whole picture kind of come together, which is nice. So this year in particular, we had, of course, the coronavirus. So we left at spring break, not realizing we weren't going to come back, which was kind of a shocker. When that realization finally hit, I think we were overwhelmed. We were scared. And for us in particular, we had to continue to work all during the corona, pandemic. And so we weren't quite sure what that was going to look like for us. But thankfully, the school, I can't say enough things about how wonderful the school came along with us. And again, they just worked right along beside us.
Well, that connectivity continued. The Griffins Live was really fun. It was kind of a placeholder to start our day. I found myself enjoying it as much as the kids did, but it really kind of set a tone for just a continuation of the education of the kids with the situation of the virus. And it just brought a normalcy to it. Mm-hmm. It made it feel like it really just set our day and set us to kind of start. And the kids, it brought them back to center each day, where it didn't feel like this just weird, wild time. Mm-hmm. It felt normal. Mm-hmm. After a week or 4. But
yeah, I think it was good because they would wake up knowing what they were going to do for the day. So they didn't wake up saying, what are we going to do today? And just be complaining. They knew that we were going to wake up and we were going to watch Griffins Live, which was similar to what they would have been doing here anyway, which was great. So there's some good continuity over what they would have been doing at school. Now we're just doing it at home. We're trying to do it on our iPads or our phones or our Kindles or whatever it is. They're just making it work remotely.
It made it feel important. It made it feel like it still had meaning and value, as opposed to just kind of mailing it in, not really knowing what we were doing, or it really kind of focused us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it was good because the kids really enjoyed being able to see their friends, being able to see other students and teachers and their principals. I think it gave a sense of community that even though we're all at home doing this separately, we really are doing it together. And so I think that they really enjoyed kind of having that aspect of the community of the school is still just as strong as it was before, which is good. So another good thing about we talked earlier this morning about the house system and about the community that we do feel within the school. We can start a little bit with how the house system works. So it's a great system. There's 5 houses, and as soon as the kids get here on back to school night, they get divided into a specific house. And just right out from, out of the gates, the kids are immediately placed into a group of friends. They're immediately placed into a group with older students who just help them along the way from the beginning of school until they are done here at the academy. And so there's a feeling of community for the kiddos as well. The older kids kind of take care of the younger kids. The younger kids have someone to look up to. They think, wow, this older kid knows my name, and it makes the younger kids feel, really cool and really included in a group, which I think is kind of neat.
And that community transitions very well into like our families too. You become friends with the people that your kids are educating with. There's ideas shared. There's moments of heartache together. There's moments of celebration together. You really become a community, and whether that's with the other parents, with the teachers. There's just a friendliness and a welcomeness that when you walk in here, you just feel like you're a part of it, and where you can do it hand in hand and side by side, walking through this together. And I've appreciated that part of that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, school is hard, and grade school is hard, middle school is hard, and so having a pretty close-knit community is really helpful.
Not feeling alone in it, like feeling like you've got people to turn to ask questions when it's difficult, or just with anything.
All right, I think you can hear me now. I'm Lindy Beswick. I am the admissions coordinator here at the Academy. I am also an Academy mom. I have been a blended parent for 4 years, going on 5 now. My kids are going into 5th and 3rd grade, and I have just loved everything about the Academy, from our amazing curriculum to our teachers, to the sense of community that the Burts just talked about. We've just had a really great experience. A classical Christian school not only really values the academic excellence, but it also honors the rhythm of the day as we laugh, as we learn, eat, sing, play. So here's one of our students who's going to describe his experience at the Academy as a new student who joined us last year.
Hello everyone, my name is Ethan Hoyle. I just moved here from Arkansas, so I'm sort of a new student here at the Academy. When I first moved, I wasn't so sure if I really wanted to be here, and really wasn't trusting God with the decision for the move. However, once I came to the Academy and got used to my house, it was amazing. Everyone here was really accepting, especially the teachers. For example, the teachers really get to know you outside of school and inside of school. They learned you and adjust to your curriculum to how they see fit. For example, in my old school, I did not know Latin. I did not learn it, I learned Spanish. But here at the Academy, we learn Latin. My Latin teacher learned this and adjusted my curriculum to where me and another student will learn behind the rest of my class, but we will learn to catch up. And it's really cool in how they did that. Also, the house system. The house system is like a group of kids all put together. Instead of just being in, say, your class when you sit at lunch, it's a bunch of kids. You get to know kids outside of your grade as well as inside of your grade. In fact, I get to sit with preschoolers when I never probably would have before. The house system encourages everyone so that no one gets left out. For example, the first person I met at the Academy was my cousin, and even though he wasn't in my class, he still, with the house system, was able to encourage me and introduce me to other students, even though we technically didn't really see each other in the normal school day, aside from lunch. Another really awesome thing about the Academy is about how they teach you. Now, I've heard that classical schools are not that fun and that they're kind of boring. That's not true at the Academy. The Academy, the teachers at the Academy always include God in their lectures, and it makes you think in a different way that you did before. They're also really fun. For example, Mrs. Peary, the science teacher at the North Dialectic School, throws suckers at you if you get a correct answer. Now, I don't know about most kids, but I love suckers, and it's a fun science class when you get suckers. And all the other teachers are fun in another way. Another cool thing about the Academy is the curriculum. I've kind of already hit on this, but the books are awesome. A lot of them I wouldn't really have read if I didn't go to the Academy, but once I did read them and learned what the teachers were telling me, and then I got thought through the book, I realized it was a really good book. For example, The Life of Benedict. He was an amazing preacher of the gospel, and he did miracles through God, and I probably wouldn't have read that if it weren't for the Academy. And once I did read it, I was like, whoa, I'm missing out. This is incredible. Another really cool book series that we got to read here at the Academy was The Lord of the Rings. I had seen the movies, but I hadn't read the books. And once I did read the books, I was like, whoa, this is incredible. I really should have read the books beforehand. And they really do encourage kids my age to read more books that inspire, and it's really cool.
As you can see, our students love our school and they're passionate about it. The last piece of this event is going to look at how the Academy shapes students' affection for truth, goodness, and beauty. And who better to explain this than one of our great teachers?
My name is Jessica Orr, and I teach 4th grade blended at the South Campus, and I have been teaching here. This will be coming up on my 6th year in 4th grade, and I also am a parent. I have an incoming 9th grader, incoming 6th grader, and an incoming 3rd grader, and so I have had the joy and the pleasure of also seeing the shaping of our students' affections in my classroom, but also as a parent, and seeing from the very young ages our children getting to have their hearts and their minds redirected in such a beautiful way where they see God kind of orient over all subject areas and across the board, from when they're little bitty and they're learning just about the very beginnings of truth, kind of materializing itself all the way through middle school and on into high school. And I continue to stand amazed just at the way that our teachers direct our students' hearts to love what is true and good and beautiful. There are a lot of wonderful things to love about our school, but I think one of my most favorite is just the interconnectedness of all of our curriculum. So instead of just having Bible for a certain set of time, or history or literature, everything kind of overlaps and interweaves together in a way that helps deepen our students' understanding of things. So for example, if in history in 4th grade, we're studying the American Revolution and then the Founding Fathers and the creation of our country, well, at the same time in literature, we're reading Carry On, Mr. Bowditch. And so we're looking at the life of somebody who is about our students' age and how they grow up during that time period, and they're seeing some of the historical figures that they're studying in history come into play in someone's life. And then our students are taking those characters and they become that character in what we call living history. And so this year, our living history actually happened virtually, and our students spent the weeks leading up to all of the quarantine things using studying their historical figure, learning about their speech. They researched their growing up time and their childhood and all their important contributions, and then they become that person and they present. We say you push a button and they come alive, and they give a little 30-second speech in their person's character, like George Washington or Alexander Hamilton. And so our students did that this year virtually, and we all got to see each other present and come alive as your historical figure. So it's kind of a culmination of all of these different things coming together in a big celebration. And it's so fun to watch their faces as they see their friends come alive as Betsy Hamilton, or come alive as John Hancock, and they go, I remember that person. The depth of their understanding in all of our subject areas, I think, is just it's hard to explain, and it's hard to compare to something else because I've never seen that in any other teaching opportunities. And I think it makes their experience so much richer, and it gives a different type of perspective to the world, because you also see that God is the same God today that He was all throughout history, and you get to see just how He is a part of every part of our daily life, and not just now, or not just when I'm at church, or not just when I'm studying the Bible. And so I think it really lends itself to a beautiful and a rich type of education.
So one of the questions that we get quite a bit, having just come off of 8 weeks of what we called Griffins Live, which was our online version of the Academy, where we had students Zoom meetings with their teachers, and just a rich educational environment in the midst of this coronavirus experience. What will the fall look like? Well, for that, we have a group of 8 doctors and physicians who are all Academy parents. So they are invested in their own child's experience and in their own child's safety. And also, they are right at the cutting edge of all of the research that's going out. Every day and every week, there have been new announcements to help everyone better understand exactly what we should expect the fall to look like. And so we have a series of meetings with this physician advisory group, and they are already providing us wonderful counsel on what sort of safety measures are appropriate in the fall. And there are other, there are pieces of it that will be ultimately determined by federal guidelines or by state guidelines. Certainly there are some larger picture pieces of the puzzle that might be outside of our control. But we have every expectation, based on the counsel and guidance of this group of doctors, that we will be able to return in the fall, that there is so much encouraging medical science and developments in the medical world around what it looks like, and everything from, even in headlines this past week, to the vaccine studies that are coming along nicely. But even if it's quite a bit of time before a vaccine is ready, the studies that are showing that children simply do not spread this virus in the same way that adults spread this virus gives us tremendous comfort that as a school, we have every expectation of it being appropriate to return to school in the fall, that there are the right safety measures we can put in place to protect our employees, protect our staff, and protect our students. And so all of those things are being looked at very carefully with prayerful care and deliberation. But we have, again, every expectation that it will be safe to return in the fall and that we will be able to do so. So with that, let me turn it back over to Darla, our admissions director, and she'll close our time together.
Thank you. Thank you to our guests who joined us today. We had a pretty good crowd, so we appreciate you guys joining in with us. If you arrived late to the VIEW event, no worries. We're going to post this on our different platforms. When we get this all put together to share, you can text it to your friends, post it on your Facebook page. We'd really appreciate you guys getting the word out to as many people as you can about our school. I'm going to just take a couple minutes to answer any questions that our guests have that might be conducive to share with the other guests. So if you can click the chat button at the bottom and ask away, we'll be happy to answer those. Also, I want to add that this is merely an introduction of our school and walking you through that mission statement, but I would love to take you on a tour of any of our campuses, as well as Lindy is happy to do that as well. So please email us at admissions@theacademyok.org, and we will be happy to set that up for you. We also usually have a lot of students shadowing in the spring at our school, but we're hoping to get that started again in the fall, where students can come and shadow our classes. So if somebody's late to the game in the fall and decide they want to switch schools or join us, that's a good option as well. So
I want to take a moment to brag on Darla and the work that she's been doing in the admissions director. There is no doubt that there are many schools that have been really hard hit and are struggling with with their enrollment projections for the coming year. And by the grace of God and through the hard work of so many people behind the scenes, including Darla, we actually are expecting that our school is going to grow next year based on the number of new applicants that we've had already this semester. Even since this all started, this craziness started in March and April, we've continued to have new applicants come. So our school is a growing school, even in the midst of this strange time and strange environment. So with that, I'll turn it back over to Darla to answer some of these questions.
Thank you. So thanks, Megan. Is there something that shows what each grade will be learning, what books, math concepts, etc.? So if you'll check out our website, theacademyok.org, and if you go to the tab at the top that says Back to School, and then scroll down underneath that tab, and you'll see a highlighted phrase that says Complete Curriculum List. Click on that link, and it'll show you our book list for every grade from pre-K through 12th. That's a great way to get a feel for the curriculum that we use here. Again, if you schedule a tour with me, I'll be more than happy to show you the curriculum in person. We'll thumb through the books. We'll look at the curriculum from our phonics program. We use Spell to Write and Read, which is amazing. Across the board, we use Spell to Write and Read from pre-K through 5th. We use Math in Focus as well from pre-K through 7th, I believe it is. Shirley, grammar, Abeka handwriting, Story of the World, which is the best history book known to mankind, in my opinion. So that's a great question. Are lessons differentiated based on a student's current abilities? So that's a great question. Our lessons and curriculum are taught to the class as a whole. We do offer modifications to particular students who come in with different needs. So we have an accommodations director, Mrs. Jones, who is also our rhetoric, which is our high school principal. And she, during the admissions process, we work in tandem to determine if particular students coming in have needs that we might need to provide some accommodations for in the classroom. So as long as a student can still participate in the class, get the same benefits that the other classmates do from our curriculum and our everything that goes along with that, then sometimes we can provide some accommodations for that child to succeed. So that's, feel free to contact me and we'll talk about that further.
And we have roughly 50 or so students who are in our accommodations program. And so that's actually a really rich and well-developed part of who we are. And the other thing that I'll add to this is that because we have such small class sizes, our teachers really know where their students are at. And so when you have at most 16 students in a class of the grammar years, there's just such rich relationship that forms between the teacher and the student. And so you get this benefit of a really customized learning experience. So it's the word differentiation has a lot of baggage with it. What I would say is that our students are known, and they are known in a really intimate way in terms of where their learning is at, what they're ready for, how quickly the whole class can move. And we also believe in setting a high bar. We believe that when we set a high bar, students rise, and we see that over and over again. So between our accommodation support program, between knowing our students well and their small class sizes, the result is a really vibrant and wonderful educational experience.
Yes, for sure. I'm thinking of a couple questions that always get brought up at our normal VIEW events. So I'm going to touch on just a couple of things really quickly. So the question I think at the forefront of everybody's mind is if we adhere to one particular denomination as a school, and we are actually trans-denominational. That's the term that we coined. So we have students join us from every denomination that you can think of. So we have students who are Southern Baptist and Presbyterian and Roman Catholic and Methodist and non-denominational churches. So what's great about this is that I think it lends a unique aspect to our school that we are not aligned with a particular denomination. That when students come into our school, they bring all the richness of their traditions with them, and they're able to discuss those as a group in a class being led by one of our professors who are, of course, Christian, wonderful human beings. And what's great about the way our professors lead those conversations and help those kids out is that they ultimately let the students know that it's up to their, take what you've learned here in the classroom and go home and discuss it with your parents. They don't try to sway the students into a particular belief system or not, based, for example, infant baptism or things like that. So it's a great, I think it's pretty unique. You want to add to that, Stephen?
Yeah, we have about 80 churches that are represented, and that might be even a larger number now. It was 80 a year ago. So we have just such a rich diversity in our student body and in our teachers and professors as well.
Yeah. And then another question that comes up pretty much every time is, what about technology? Where are your smart boards? Do the kids get a tablet when they come into the academy? The answers are no to both of those questions. We may have smart boards, I don't know, someday, but we don't check out laptops or personal devices to our students. We pretty much go along with the benefits of teaching the classics. So our kids read actual books. They flip pages. They learn hands-on lessons through manipulatives instead of looking at lessons on a screen. We truly believe that this has not at all hindered our students' ability to go on to college and perform quite well. Our students can type their papers on their computers. They can absolutely do research at home and sometimes at school, depending on what class they're in. So they do debate research, science research, things like that on laptops, but it's not an incorporated part of our everyday subject matter. Anything to add to that?
Yeah, I think the proof that are in the midst of focusing on the building blocks of learning and critical thinking, the proof that our students have not been disserviced is in how wonderfully they adapted to complete online learning for 8 weeks, right? So they were able to go from their classroom learning environment to an online learning environment, and they figured it out 2 days later, right? It was just this rich learning process and discussing real books in their Zoom classrooms because they were able to do that because they're so used to discussing real books. And so, technology is just a tool. And so when it's the right tool for the right job, then of course we use it in the right ways. We of course want our teachers to have the right tools at their fingertips and to train them in how to use them well. But at the end of the day, we don't think that students need to be looking at screens all day, every day for 12 years in order to become articulate, thinking citizens and followers of Christ. In fact, we think that some schools have really gone too far in that direction. And so we want to give them the real books.
Yes, the joke around here lately has been, look at us, the classical Christian school who got our school completely online in a week and beat out a lot of other schools that didn't have the Griffins Live or the type feel to them where the students can continue their learning online when the pandemic hit. So I have 2 7th grade boys here at the South Campus. We have been here since pre-K. And I will say that when we transitioned to Griffins Live, Mama couldn't help them because I have been working full time. So my 2 boys were able to log on every single day, download their lesson plans, take pictures of the works, share it to their teachers, get online from 12:30 to 3, attend their classes, ask questions. I mean, the full gamut. I mean, they had no problems whatsoever. And it's because kids kids are intuitive and they know how to do that without us having to teach them how to use a screen every day. So, all right. Any more questions that you guys can think of?
Darla, what are the next steps for our webinar attendees who might want to continue to learn more?
So yes, I'd love for you to email me at admissions@theacademyok.org. And as soon as I get your email, I will contact you either by email or by phone, either me or Lindy Beswick, who's here at the South Campus. We will get in touch with you, set up a tour. Again, we'd love to walk you through our campuses, let you thumb through our books and talk to our teachers and principals. And then if you decide to proceed from there, then you can fill out an application on our website. It's under admissions and then new student application. You fill out the application, and once we receive that, we'll set up a time for you to interview with one of our administrators, get to know us a little bit better even still, and assess your children to make sure that we're placing them in the right class and grade, and it's a total partnership from the very beginning. We work with you from the very beginning to get you set up here at the school, and then your teachers take it over from there. So yeah, let me know.
Well, we could not be more honored that you joined us this morning and gave us some time today. So thank you for doing that. And we hope to continue to partner with you, not just this morning in our time together, but throughout the coming year and years. And so thank you again. So grateful for you tuning in this morning, and we look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.